Hi, everybody, and guess who is with us today? I mean, it's Paul Gruber. Paul Gruber is in the house, and I was super excited waiting for this episode. Paul, how are you?
Joe, it's so great to see you.
Ah,
So great to see you. It's been about, I think, 10 years since we worked together, and you're one of my shining students who've taken my Miracle Pronunciation Academy training, and you've done amazing. And I'm so proud of you for everything you've done online and your businesses and all your success. And every time I have a new client from Egypt, I think of you. I said, "Oh, you're from Egypt," and but most of my clients from Egypt don't speak like you. They have very heavy accents, and you speak amazing and have done so
thank
amazing in
you.
with the training. And I'm so happy to see you again.
Well, for everybody who doesn't know, and everybody who's asking me about my American accent, this is the man. This is the man who has actually straightened my American accent. So, I mean, he's here today to share a lot of information that you'd love to know. And just to let you know, just in case you have not met Paul before, Paul has built an outstanding reputation in the field of accent reduction uh, and English pronunciation. He has worked with corporate presidents, CEOs, international executives, embassy employees, United Nations members, countless college and high school students, and has provided services to many corporations, governmental agencies, and universities. Paul travels throughout the world conducting on-site training events to universities, corporations, and various organizations. His audiences range from small groups to arenas holding over 6,000 learners. Paul's videos have been seen by more than 8 million people worldwide, and he has become a celebrity in China, Vietnam, India, and Russia. Paul, this is great to have you today. And I'm sure a lot of people out there are waiting to understand more about American accent training. A lot of them have never heard of such a thing, which is like, it will totally influence and impact their careers. And I wanted to ask you first and foremost, what made you choose what you do?
Um, I never had this on my radar. Let me just tell you that first of all, never. This was never on my radar. If you told me when I was like in my 20s that I would be doing this as a profession, I would think you're making up some crazy story. So this was never on my radar. Um, I was in business. I worked in sales in New York when I graduated college, have my bachelor's degree in communications, worked in New York in sales, had a very nice job. Um, to make a very long story short, I had a spinal cord injury. I don't even know if you know this.
Oh, I didn't.
It's a long story, but I hurt my back in a sledding in the snow. And it turned out that it got worse and worse, and I became paralyzed from the waist down. And I was at rehab in rehab hospitals for months. I had to learn how to walk at surgery. I had to learn how to walk all over again. And so this was a very big, I was about 20, I was about 27, 28, 27 years old when this happened. And so after this happened, and I worked with a lot of physical therapists, occupational therapists, I was in the hospital, I was reevaluating my life. I said, I want to maybe get out of sales. And I was involved with medical people. I never had any exposure to that. And I said, maybe I should go back to school. So I started thinking about going back to school, but I wasn't interested in physical therapy, occupational therapy, but I wanted to help people. And I saw this field of speech language pathology, which is therapy and rehab, but it involved communication and speaking. So there was a school local where I was living at the time that had an accredited program. And I went to the school, I met with them. I go, this is what I want to do. And in 3 days, it was crazy. In 3 days, I made the decision to go back to school. This is a master's program, graduate school. So I went back to school and I started studying speech language pathology, which is a medical it's communication. You're dealing with people who've had strokes,
Mm-hmm.
who can't speak, or Parkinson's disease, or children who were drug exposed. They have autism, or they have apraxia where so it's very medical. So I graduated with that degree. I was working in hospitals and schools for years, but I always loved pronunciation. And someone said, as a speech pathologist, you could work with people on their accents. I go, that's a good idea. So I was working in hospitals and schools, and on the side, I started working. I started putting ads. I was living in the Chicago area. I started putting ads in newspapers. Reduce your foreign accent. Reduce your foreign accent. And I started running these ads, and I started getting clients like from Northwestern University in Chicago, and I started getting clients all over the world. I ended up getting an office. This was back in like 94, 95, 96. I had an office in the Chicago area, and I loved it. My clients, weren't sick. I wasn't in a hospital setting. I was in a professional setting. And my clients went from poor English skills where you couldn't understand them to speaking like an American speaker.
Wow.
And I loved it. And I saw the internet was exploding at the time. It was a new thing, and you could watch video. You could see video on the internet. I said, if I make a video course teaching what I do, this can go global.
Yes.
So I spent about 6 years. From 1999 to around 2005, making these videos. So at night, while my family was sleeping,
Wow.
and I worked all day, I was making these videos about how to pronounce English. And I I'm not an English teacher, so I'm not teaching English like this is a cup. I'm not. It's not like that. It's basically taking someone who already speaks English, but elevating them to a whole new
Yes.
level where they sound native. And I created this course, and then in 2005, got a website, pronunciationworkshop.com, and we launched it. And I didn't know if any, and then I had it on a DVD. I had all the training on a DVD with a username and a password. I didn't know after 6 years, I didn't know if anyone was going to buy this. And we started advertising, and boom, people from all over the world started buying this. And then we got into live coaching, and it grew and grew and grew. And that's how, so if I never became paralyzed, I never had this spinal
Oh
cord
my
injury,
gosh.
you never would have known me, because I never would have gone into this business. So that's how I got into the business. And I love it. I love what I do. The transformations, like you, are incredible, and it's a lot of fun, and my clients are wonderful, and they're very appreciative. And people like in India have tripled their income. People have gotten better jobs. People have gotten better relationships. The way you communicate and the way you speak English is major in someone's life. So it's really, my training really has a very positive impact on basically millions of people.
It does. And I mean, I've been through this. I've experienced this. And communication does have a huge impact on lives. And the person who does the communication and the other person who's like, trying to understand him and feeling, relating to him is huge. How many accents do you teach right now, Paul?
Okay, I only teach the North American English, United States, Canada accent.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if you speak French or Spanish or Thai or Chinese or Vietnamese or Russian or Ukrainian or Arabic or Hebrew, or it doesn't matter what you speak. All I listen for is what's not typical of a North American accent.
Yeah.
That's all so, when I work with someone live, I do a lot of live coaching as well. When I work with someone live, I go, okay, tell me about your life, your family, your hobbies, your job, start. And as soon as they start speaking, I just start taking notes. I'm very fast typist. I start taking notes, and I'm listening for the word connections, the substitutions, all the sounds that are non-native. So and then we address those issues, and then
Yeah.
slowly, over time. It's impossible. I'm speaking ahead of myself a little bit, but it's impossible for someone to think about pronunciation and speak at the same time, because
Yes.
the words come out of your mouth so quickly. So you have to get this to the point of becoming completely automatic. It's very much like music. It's a lot of ear training and showing the client how they're speaking compared to, let's say, a typical Native American speaker. And when they hear those differences and they practice slowly and they get coached over time, the results are, very, very significant.
Absolutely. I think part of it is also is thinking of yourself as a Native American speaker. And that takes you to another, mindset. And I remember that's the first thing that you mentioned to me, is that I teach North American Canadian accent. And that was one of the first pieces of information that you shared with me, Paul.
And many of my clients speak great English.
Yeah.
Their vocabulary, their fluency, their grammar is all great, but it's very hard to understand what they're saying. Or
Yeah.
because of their pronunciation, or they have a slight, some people, they came, they learned English, they have a very slight accent. They speak really well, but slight, and they want to, for some reason, they want to eliminate it completely and
Yeah.
sound native. So we have clients from all levels with heavy, heavy accents and very poor pronunciation, to you would barely notice, like actors who want to get
Yeah.
a role as they're from UK and they want to sound American. We have many clients like that, and they just want to sound, for whatever reason, they want to sound native. So we have many, many different levels of clients.
It doesn't matter how good you are with English, because like the moment you start having this accent and you sound like a foreigner, that's a barrier right there.
And it's a lot of people spend a lot of time learning English and mastering, passing the IELTS exam and the TOEFL exam, and they get really good at English. But if you have difficulty communicating with someone
Yeah.
and speaking to someone in English, and you have to repeat yourself, or you're misunderstood, what good
And what's
is
the
it?
point?
What good is it? Right. So the whole
Absolutely.
point is learning English, but also being able to communicate easily, stress-free, and confidently. And that's what
And
we do.
beautifully. Absolutely. What is the hardest part of accent training, Paul?
It's the hardest part. Um, um, and you mean when I work with someone? Like, what do you
Yeah.
mean? What's the hardest part? When I
The
work
hard,
with
which
someone?
takes a lot of effort in order to, perfect the accent. What is the hardest part
You mean the hardest part for the client?
for you?
When you enjoy what you're doing and you get a job or you enjoy what you're doing, you're never working. It's
Yes.
never like how many minutes, this it's running the business is not easy. Running the business, clients and management and financials and advertising, and problems, and the website goes down for some reason, that's challenging. But when I work with clients live, it's totally enjoyable. And almost like 99.9% of my clients are super nice people, very motivated, and I'm happy to help them. So there's nothing difficult about that part of it. Running the business isn't easy,
Of
but
course.
yeah, but working with clients and teaching them how to speak perfect English, it's all enjoyable. There's really no negatives to that.
Did you face the situation where somebody is coming to get help and they're not speaking good English?
Well, that's all my clients, all of them. There's grammar problems, vocabulary problems,
Yeah. What
fluency
do you do?
problems. Oh, well, I help them. I coach them on their pronunciation, on their syllable stress, on their intonation, on their fluency. I have a wonderful client, Vaughn.
Wow.
She's she's from Vietnam. She's living in the United States. I just worked with her yesterday. She, being from Vietnam, she drops a lot of her endings. Oh, like always, I will always be there. Always be, she's again always, she's missing those endings.
Yes,
She drops her endings and she is very choppy when she speaks. This is how she speaks. So we work on fluency and connecting, because in English, it's so different than Chinese and
Yeah.
Japanese. Everything is connected, everything. So we work on the connection, and I'm getting her to speak fast and fluent, and yeah. So it's not just an accent, it's intonation, syllable stress, word connections, and fluency, and yeah.
Music.
So music, it's the music of the language, and every language has their own music.
Yeah. Yeah, so true. What is it that you think why is it that you think some clients will actually be able to successfully perfect their accent when others don't?
Okay, well, first of all my clients, there's two parts to my business. Okay, I have clients that work with my video course. I have a brand new course. I started this about a few years ago. It's called the Miracle Pronunciation Academy, and I put I don't even know how many hours, years of work into this, and it's an amazing course. And it's a video training that the first month when you sign up, you get 40 video classes. And then after the first month, every week, we continue to send you new video units every single week. And they're great. They're fun. They're powerful. They're eye-opening. And if you go through those videos slowly and practice slowly and review, and not a lot, you could practice 5 minutes a day, but at least keeping it fresh in your mind. A lot of the way someone is going to improve is a lot of listening skills.
Mm-hmm.
They have to get to it's not just repeating and shadowing what I say. They need to understand what they're doing and the mistakes they're making compared to, let's say, a typical native English speaker.
Yeah.
So the goal is for them to work with the training and then speak to people in English and say to themselves, oh, I just said that wrong. I should have said it this other way. And it's that awareness over and over. That's how they improve. Now, the thing is, when people sign up for my Miracle Pronunciation Academy training, some people buy books. They go to a bookstore, they buy a great book, and they get home and they never open the book.
Yeah.
It sits and they never read the book.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You need to take this seriously and have motivation and work with my videos. There are people that sign up for my training and as great as my videos are, they're not motivated to work with the program. So that's a challenge. So that's why I made these videos fun, entertaining. There's surprises. You see my dog, you see my sister,
Yeah.
it's like, it's very entertaining. So because I want to bring people back. When it comes to live coaching, everyone does well. All my clients improve. Like I work with people over a 6-month period. I call it the Miracle Pronunciation Experience. They work with me on Zoom every single week for 6 months. And it's fantastic. And everyone improves. Some people improve more than others. And some people, I think sometimes maybe it's a talent. It's like a musical talent. The whole goal, as I mentioned already, they need to be able to hear when they make a mistake. It's not just like I have a client who says, he substitutes an S for his THs. So he would say, instead of something, he would say something and something and everything. In order for them to improve, they need to be able to hear when they say, everything is good, they should say, oh, that was wrong. Everything is good. They need to catch those mistakes. If they're unable to catch the mistakes as they say them, they don't improve so much. But my clients who are able to, oh, I just said that wrong, then slowly on their own, they're going to make those improvements. And that's why I think you've done so well, is because you were able to take the training. And then when you're speaking English and you made mistakes, can't say, oh, I said that wrong. Oh, I said that wrong.
True. Till now.
And that's slowly how you improve.
Yeah.
And that's so everyone pretty much improves, but it has to be a goal. You have to take it seriously and put a little time and effort into this.
Absolutely. And just to give this kind of motive for people who sign up for your training and they don't follow through. So can you explain to these people or people who may not have heard of your training before or like the importance of this training and do have an accent and maybe like high-end professionals, Paul, would you explain to them what difference does it make for the US buyer when they listen to somebody who's selling to them their services when the situation where they have an American accent versus the situation where they're not having an American accent or they have a heavy accent?
Okay. So first of all, this is my business. I've been doing this for next year will be 30 years that I've been doing this. So I'm used to accents. But it is so frustrating. I pick up the phone for customer service or something. And even with me, with my trained ear, sometimes you just don't understand what they're saying, on the phone. It's so frustrating. And I have many clients who have YouTube channels and Facebook followings of millions of people, but they don't speak English clearly, and it's frustrating. You want communication to be stress-free, and when a North American English speaker like myself or listener is listening to someone speaking with accented English, we have to try a little harder. We have to sometimes guess, did he say that? Did he say this? Or what did exactly they say? And it's not pleasant, and we would much rather purchase something, buy something, be sold something, be convinced of something from someone who speaks clearly and correctly than compared to someone who has an accent.
So this is real. This is real.
Oh yeah. Because Yeah, yeah, you don't want to, I have clients in the finance business. They give financial advice. They have YouTube channels, great people. But they signed up to work with me because they knew when they were speaking to, let's say, a native country like Australia or the United
Yeah,
States or UK, and they came with their Russian accent, we we were not interested. I'm sorry, it might sound unfair.
it's real. It
It
doesn't
might
matter,
sound,
but it's real.
I don't
It
think
will
you would.
affect it. Do you think it affects the trust levels?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Even like with even for someone like you, even for someone like you, I know a lot of your clients and associates are in the United States and Canada.
Yeah.
I don't think you would have been as successful as you are
No.
if you
Yeah.
spoke with a heavy, and your first language, of course, is Arabic,
Yeah.
correct? If you spoke with a heavy Arabic accent in English, I don't think you would have had the success that you have. I don't.
I agree. Totally.
So it's a very big, it's a very, it's a self-improvement arena that it's very important, especially for business and success. It is. And it just turned out that I landed in this field. I mean, I didn't pursue this sort of, it just happened. And I had clients, I have a client from, I have a friend, Herb, his name's Herb. He's a physical therapist. He's from Amsterdam, super nice guy. And he speaks with like an accent. He's from Amsterdam, and I worked with him in the hospitals years ago when I first got into this. And I said, Herb, I want to go into accent reduction and English pronunciation training. He says, Paul, you're crazy. No one's ever going to, and he has an accent, and he lived in America. No one's ever going to spend money on this. No one will ever spend and invest money in reducing their accent. It's a waste. You're wasting your time. And he was a very big influence on me not doing what I did. And now he's like, I'm so sorry,
I'm
Paul. I'm
sorry.
so
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
I was so wrong. I was so wrong. So yeah.
It's amazing. And uh I think it's also like, especially when they're with them on the phone, when they're showing like a great brochure or like great information, and then the moment when they meet them, they come with an accent. It's like you've been in sales, I mean, for some time, Paul. Do you think that having successful sales skills comes along as an entrepreneur, comes along with perfecting your American accent when you're selling to English native speakers?
Yeah. And it doesn't even have to be perfecting. It doesn't have to be perfecting. Typical American, Canadian listeners, accents are wonderful and they're
Yeah.
beautiful and there's nothing wrong. The thing is, you want the communication to be clear and
Yeah.
easy, and you want all the words to be easily understood. So some people have the goal of perfecting an
Yeah.
accent, but it doesn't have to be the goal. The goal could just be, being clearly understood 100% of the time. And when it comes to selling things and trusting the person who's selling, there needs to be complete integrity, and there needs to be trust, as you mentioned, and there needs to be no question when it comes to communication.
Yeah.
And that's
So it's like
part of it.
perfect or near perfect. No other option to get there.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be, it just has to be, it can't be unintelligible. It has to be intelligible.
Yeah.
Like many of my clients from all over, they speak great. Their English could be great, but then they have little pockets. The sentences are going great. Then they have little
Mm.
pockets of, and
Mm.
then little pockets,
I
and
know
you
that.
don't know what they said. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And it's great. And that's how I help people, because I show them that little pocket. What you say? What you say?
There you
Can
go.
you spell that for me? And then I show them why I didn't understand that little, and then, because you want to understand everything, 100% everything. And when you have these little pockets of unintelligibility, it's very frustrating
They're
for the
interruptions.
listener, and we don't want to make them feel bad. We don't want the speaker to, like, say, so very often you let it go. Very
Yeah.
often you say nothing, you nod, and we have no idea what they just said. So
Yeah, so typical. So having said that, Paul, you are focusing so much on how to help people communicate effectively in that way. You have events, you have like millions of people watching you all the time. What is your dream? What is your big dream for the world?
Well, our tagline for the business is, what is it? Teaching the world how to speak perfect, like teaching the world how to speak perfect English. You know, English is it the number one language in the world? I think it's the number
Yeah,
one
yeah,
international
yeah,
global
yeah,
language in the world.
yeah,
So many people want to, and you know, people are constantly in all these Malaysia and Thailand and Algeria and Azerbaijan, they're learning English, and they speak and they feel I learned English. I can, whatever. I got a score on IELTS for a certain,
yeah.
but it's no good. It's no good if they're unintelligible at times and they have difficulty communicating. So my goal is really to help English speakers speak clearly. This is what we said, clearly, correctly, and confidently. That's the goal. And it's sincere. It's not just, I don't just say those words empty. I love what I do, and I get frustrated. Like earlier, we were speaking. I hope it's okay.
So it's like,
Earlier we were
it's
speaking.
like, yeah, sometimes you will. As a non-native, you will have these, corrections, and you want to just pay attention. And it's so important to pick
And
it up.
my point is we sincerely want to help people. This
Absolutely.
isn't
Yeah.
like, we're trying to sell widgets, buy this widget. It's a business, and I want to grow the business and continue to grow the business, but I really want to help as many people as I can in having them reach their goals in being able to communicate in English fluently and confidently. So
I think it helped anybody, Paul, whether it's a coaching slash training context, or if you see them like anywhere and you just heard something that doesn't sound right, you'd automatically, being you would immediately correct it or help them correct it. Yeah.
And it's great finding, and it's very hard, but it's a wonderful gift and blessing to find something that you love doing and you could make money
Yeah.
at it. Because, and for years, believe me, for years I would work in, if I worked in McDonald's years ago. I worked in Macy's selling shirts. I worked in, I sold newspapers. I was a delivery boy. I was in sales in New York. And, very often you go to, I have 2 more hours to go. I have 3 more. When am I going to get off this job? So I've had
Ah,
years of working at jobs like I could, and to find something that you love
yes.
doing, and helping people, and you can make money at it. I've been very, very, very lucky. And I know
Yes.
most people, and that's the goal. I tell this to my, I have 2 boys, 2 children, and I tell them, like, that's the goal. You have to find something that you love doing where you don't even look at your watch.
Yes. There you go. Exactly. Now, most of our audience will be coaches and trainers, which I think makes it double as important, if not more, maybe 10 times as important for them to properly and easily communicate what they want to teach to their audiences, Paul. So if you're talking to coaches and trainers, it doesn't just become about the sales, right? It becomes about everything. So like, what is a piece of advice that you want to share with them as coaches and trainers who are experts, like could be geniuses in their fields, but then will have this kind of accent? What kind of advice would you want to share with them?
Very rarely, but once in a while, I might have a client, um, who speak to me before they sign up. Before they sign up and work with me, they want to meet with me first, to see if I'm genuine, and they might be maybe skeptical. Like, am I, or what's the guarantee? Is there a guarantee I'm going to improve? Things like that. And I tell them, and it's so sincere. I tell them, listen, I want to help you more. I want you to improve more than you want to improve yourself. And I mean it. It's not just words.
Yeah.
I want them to improve their English more than they want to. That's how invested I am in their improvement. And that's why I'm so good at what I do with word of mouth and grow my business and so many clients, because I'm not in this just for the money, to get money. I'm in this really to help people. And I think as a trainer
Mm-hmm.
and a coach,
Mm-hmm.
That's the trick. You have to, you come up with an idea. I don't know, you're a trainer, you train on life skills or whatever it is that you train.
Project management. Yeah.
You have to get them in your head. My advice is you want to help them more than they want to be helped. And if you approach your clients in that way, you're going to be very successful.
Yeah.
And mean it. It's not just a mantra that you have to, okay, I'll talk myself into it. I sincerely want to help my clients more than they want the help. And that's why I do it with such passion and eagerness and excitement and enthusiasm.
And that's the way they need to be thinking about their clients as well. They want to help them as much as possible, and whatever it takes for them to communicate with them this huge experience that they have. I mean, why hold back?
And I think most coaches and trainers who go into that business have that mindset already. I would think so. But if you don't have that mindset already and you cannot get there, I would recommend get into another business. Find another business.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It's a helping business. It's a coaching. People are paying you money to get a result. They want a result. And I don't want people to spend money and waste their money. I want them to get the results they're looking for. And that's how I feel a coach or a trainer should approach their business and their practice.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, now, given the current global situations we're facing, how critical is it to make nations feel they are one and that they understand each other in terms of spoken language?
I'll tell you this. The war in Ukraine started, what, a year ago or something? Yeah. Okay. The people are being bombed. There's bombs dropping. Now there's the war in Israel and Gaza. Okay? Terrible. And I don't want to go into politics, but it's a terrible, terrible thing that's going on. But what you wouldn't believe is when the war in Ukraine started, we're getting sales. We're making sales from Ukraine.
Oh my goodness.
Sales are coming in from Ukraine. And we're looking at each other. How could they be buying anything? They're being attacked. They're in a war. Same thing for Israel and Gaza, the Palestinian territories. People are signing up now during the war. People are signing up. So that tells you something. That tells you, in my opinion, is that the people are going, who knows who these people are who's signing up? I don't know. But I imagine people are going to the news, they're on the radio, they're on television, they're being interviewed, and they know they're dealing with a very heavy Ukrainian accent, a Hebrew accent, an Arabic accent. They know, and they go, I'm on camera, I better speak better because people need to understand me. So they go to Google and look up American accent or English pronunciation help, and boom, I come up and they buy. So in my opinion, especially during these times of crisis, which who in Ukraine would purchase my training in the middle of a war? But they're doing it. So I think that shows you that in these times of global crisis, people need to communicate more effectively and more easily and more stress-free than ever.
Oh my gosh, Paul. So it becomes a survival skill, can we say?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Which shocked me. I mean, the war's hidden. We track all of our sales. They're from the UK, they're from Jordan, they're from Australia, and we see this. We can't believe it. And you're the first person, like, outside of my company that I'm telling this to. I mean, it's never come up, but it's really remarkable that sales are coming from these volatile locations at a very crucial, critical time.
They can't put their communication at risk when they're at that point. It has to be taken seriously.
Yeah.